Love and peace. Welcome to another episode of Black Man and Robin. I am so grateful that you decided to take this time, your greatest commodity, your precious gift, and spend it here with us for the next few moments. Normally, the podcast episodes go about 30 minutes. However, I am feeling like this episode is going to be shorter this time around. I have one idea that is resonating with me to share with you all, and it is an extension of last week's episode. And I will that it is received in the spirit of which it is given, and it reaches those that it is designed for, and it touches your heart space, and it assists you along your journey. So, if I could give a physical expression or example to be able to relate to the idea that I will to convey, I would ask that you use your imagination and think about our time being here on earth, being an expression of us living out a play or living out a movie, and we are a character in a movie. You are a character in a movie, and the movie is your life. So you are the character in the movie of your life, and you get to choose the role that you play in this movie of your life. And let's say the options are the victim, the savior, or the villain. And I'm going to save the fourth one for last. However, bear with me. Follow me. So first you can play the victim, right? And the victim would entail that the thought process that you accept and that you emanate and willingly choose to operate in is one of things happening to you, and woe is me, and this person did this to me, and this person did that to me, and why me type of situation. The victim is the person that sees themselves as being powerless. They do not see that they have any control over what happens to them, what they experience in this life. The savior is the person who self-sacrifices in an imbalanced way. They put themselves last, they put others before them. They're always looking towards how they can help someone else at the detriment of ignoring what they need to do to help themselves. They find validity, they find value in assisting, and not really assisting, but in their mind, they're actually like saving someone else from their own movie, their own path or journey in life. And as a result of that, they're not giving the proper attention to the ideas and the principles and the lessons that they need to learn and master in their own movie, on their own journey. Then we have the villain. The villain is the person that is either seen as the villain by other people because of the way that they choose to interact with people, meaning that sometimes you find people on your journey and the way that they interact with you, it is not pleasant, right? Like you find that they are triggering to you, you find that they may be insensitive or selfish. And that can be an expression of a villain, because you can be a villain in someone else's story. However, in your own story, you can be the villain when you willingly choose to ignore ideas that are being presented to you, and you decide to do things from a base of selfishness, a base of individual get ahead, or sacrificing the happiness or the well-being of others that are around you, or are co-host or what is it? Co-stars, that's the word. Co-stars in your story. That is also an option. And of course, with all three of these, there's more layers, there's more examples, there's more expressions that can be shared. However, I'm just giving a brief highlight for the purpose of making the point or expressing the idea that I'm looking to freely share with you all. And the last character in the story that can be lived or expressed is being you. Did you know that? Did you know I was going to say that? Out of the four characters in the movie, in the story, the fourth one is to be you. And being you is something that is easy to say, to be yourself, right? You know, people say just be yourself, be free to be yourself. And although in theory or in a idealistic expression, it is easy to do. However, because we have been in this human experience, spiritual beings having a physical experience for some time, we've endured many different situations and circumstances, and we've operated in many different frequencies and vibrations. And as a result of both of those ideas, they have affected and altered the essence of who we are. So sometimes along the journey, we lose sight of who we are because we've had to do what needed to be done for survival. And for so long, we've been in survival mode, you know, fighting to make it to tomorrow, make it to another day. And being the authentic expression of who we are from our essence has not always been the priority. And even when we think that we were being that, we reach a certain level in our growth and development where we realize the reality that along our journey, along our path, we have been the victim. We have been the savior. We have been the villain. And in each circumstance and situation that we chose to be one of those three, we were not being our authentic self. So as much as we would like to think and say, I've always kept it real. I've always been my true self. I've always been me. The reality is that, yes, you've been you. However, you've been different expressions of you based on the circumstances and situations that did not always reflect the heart of you. And as I stated earlier, this is a continuation of last week's recording, because last week we spoke on the idea of this is our journey and we get to live it and express it in the way that it resonates with us without having to consider someone else, or without allowing someone else's thoughts or opinions to alter what it is that resonates with us, that would be best for us in expressing or exploring the authentic expression or reality of being who we are. So I'm encouraging all of us to review, to explore, to study. Where have we been the victim? Even in taking on the thought processes and expressions of our parents and our grandparents and those that came before us. It's a saying now, and I really don't like using keywords. Is it keywords? Words that are popular at this time, I'll say. And one of them is generational traumas, right? I'll say generational patterns. When we can identify a generational pattern that we have adopted or have been influenced by or affected by, then we can identify where we were the victim, where we were the villain, where we were the savior as a result of accepting the programming that was given to us. However, once we come into this awareness, we get to choose to let it go, or we can choose to perpetuate it. The choice is ours because the Most High has given us free will. And as a result of us having free will, we build a record of expressing and showing what is truly in our hearts. And that shows us who we are. And most certainly it's making the record. So at the completion of our time here, we are then held accountable for the decisions that we made. So with that, if we can identify, or when we can identify when we are being the victim, or when we have been the victim or the savior or the villain, then we can release the pattern, the generational pattern, right? We can release it and we can pursue what is needed to elevate to a higher expression that will then place us in the frequency of being our authentic self. Now, when you look at it and you see where you have been one of those three, I encourage you to not judge yourself, to not beat yourself up, to not belittle yourself, not to look at it from a negative aspect or perspective. Look to see what was gained from those moments in time where you were operating in either of those frequencies. From that is where you can begin to shine your own light, because you can see the positivity, you can see the lesson, you can see the purpose and why those things took place, right? And then you can see the benefit of the choice that you made. And let's just let's just say you don't see any light, any benefit, and you haven't chosen one of those three at whatever particular time in your journey. At the very least, which is actually quite great and powerful and profound when looked at properly, you gained experience, right? You learned a lesson of what not to do. And I know, I I've had an experience where, I'm the oldest child of my mother's children. And I've been in a spiritual community where I was a role model, if you would say. I would say I was in a position of being a spiritual big sister. And when you are an older sibling, you pave the way for your younger siblings. So you learn a lot of things in motion, and your younger siblings are looking at you, and based on their age and their level of maturity, when they're looking at the things that you do and they're listening to conversations that are taking place around them about the things that you've done and the effects of it, they're learning what not to do, right? So there's power in having experiences and learning what not to do, because as a result of that, now you know what to do in different rhythms of thought, being the one that is making the mistakes, as people say, or the errors, or the learning curve is coming through you, it is seen as a negative thing. It's not a welcomed or embraced experience. And I challenge you that if you operate in that rhythm of thought, to view it from a different perspective and see the power in being the one that is setting the tone, the example, and assisting others that have the opportunity and the blessed experience to bear witness to your growth and development in this physical reality as a powerful example of what growth and learning looks like. And if it were not for the learning of what not to do, how else would you know what to do? And you're also assisting others in not having to go through the same experiences. So if you bumped your head on the wall 7 times and the person watched you bump your head on the wall 7 times, now they know not to go up to the wall and bump their head, because you have been the example to them. And even if they don't know what to do to not bump their head, they know what not to do that will result in them bumping their head. And there's power in that. So at the very least, see yourself as a older sibling or an example to others that can learn while you're learning as well. And again, there's power in that. And it all goes back to us being able to choose our path, choose the how we respond to the experiences that we have. Because this is not our plan. We are living out a divine plan, and being a spiritual being, having a physical experience, we don't always get to choose the experiences that we have, right? We do make choices to get us to certain destinations. However, we don't always get to choose the lessons that we have to learn, because another keyword or word that is popular is karmic debt and karmic experiences. We are beings that have lived multiple lifetimes, so we come having different experiences that need to be resolved, lessons that need to be mastered. So certain experiences, from the principle of it, cannot be avoided. However, we do have a active participation in the physical expression of the experience and what is to be gained from them based upon the decisions that we make. So again, in the previous episode, we touched on the idea not allowing your past not allowing your past decisions to hold you hostage. You did what you thought was best, or maybe you wasn't thinking at all, and you made a decision and you are living with the results of that decision. Every decision that we make, every reward or consequence that's being lived out, we can see it as an opportunity to learn and grow that brings us closer to being the authentic expression that is ourselves. So I encourage you to pursue what is needed for you to shift your thinking, to see the positive in what it is that you're experiencing now and what you experienced yesterday, so that your tomorrow can be brighter, positive, productive, peaceful, and harmonious with the spirit, soul, entity, being, divine being that you are, so that you can fully step into the acceptance of the purpose of why you're here, and be added to through your experiences, through your pursuit, to live out being the divine being that you are. And this most certainly is the time for us to be living this. There's so many things that's taken place planetary wise, through astrology, through the energetic realm, through the spiritual realm, that is supporting us and holding space for us to step into being the authentic expression of ourselves. And it's my will that this particular broadcast has aided in inspiring you to pursue knowing you. Not the you that has been developed and fashioned from the survival mode of getting through each situation and being successful, and not allowing, as some people say, the enemy to destroy you, or that was sent against you to take you down to be successful, or the natural pressure or wear and tear of being here on earth, having this human experience, how it takes you through something, and it has the potential to dim your light. I'm asking you to be in a place to review your record and be an observer. Be like a child and be inquisitive about your path up until this point, and be compassionate and understanding, while also studying and looking to see the keys and the jewels from a positive perspective that you may not have noticed prior, when you were going through the experiences. And once you do that, release and relinquish any lower frequency, any lesser vibration that you had taken on that was not a true reflection of the essence of you. And then step into the curiosity and the conscious pursuit of learning who you are, and then fully expressing in all authenticity what it is that you see, and make as many adjustments as you need, right? I don't know what it is that we feel like when we become adults, like that's the end all be all. No, that's not it. As we continue to be present, every day is an opportunity to learn and grow and to become better, to become more self-aware, to become the greater version of yourself. We would benefit from not being the same you or me today that we were last week, last month, last year, 3 years ago. We would benefit from growing and evolving every day through every situation. And it's okay if we don't do it right away, which is why I am encouraging the review at this time, to go back, check the records, rewind the movie, right? Rewind the movie, see what characters you have been playing. And if you are okay, if you are at peace with the characters that you played and you feel like that's who you are, by all means, do you, right? I'm not here to change or convince. I'm only here to offer. And in me offering, if it resonates and you have the will to do it, I applaud you and I appreciate you, and I'm proud of you for moving out on the idea that resonates with you, that's going to benefit you in the long run. And remember, as I mentioned earlier, this is also an expression of breaking free of generational patterns. So not only is it benefiting you, however, it'll benefit your children and your lineage that comes after you, because now they will no longer have to battle with, deal with, struggle with, energetically or even consciously, those generational patterns that were before you, because now that stops with you, and there's power in that. And that's also part of you being your authentic self, you standing in a position of power, learning and living and being able to do it in such a manner that it supersedes you. It benefits more than just you in a tangible way that you'll be able to benefit from, you'll be able to bear witness to as you continue to live it out. You'll see the rewards and the benefit in it from those that come after you, and how they no longer have to struggle with that or be affected by that. So hopefully this idea has been expressed clearly and you all have received it. I did say that I thought this one was going to be short. So it is short by a few minutes. Like I said, we normally go 30. So this is a few minutes shy of 30 minutes. And I'm going to end it here because I feel like the idea is complete and I want to beat y'all in the head. I'm sure if anyone has any questions or comments, I will be able to read them below. It would be greatly appreciated if you did receive something, if something did resonate with you, if you did see some value in it, if you would like, comment, or share. It also lets me know that something was received, and it does assist me as well. So on that note, I will that you experience continued peace, happiness, and love. And until the next time, love and peace.